What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Andy the Destroyer Ruiz. Andy Ruiz calls out Anthony Joshua for a trilogy fight and makes a prediction on who he thinks is going to beat, or win, rather, between Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk. And this is what he had to say. Andy said, I should have had one more opportunity to get back those belts, just like we gave him the opportunity with the rematch. Okay. He says, things happen. He lost again to Usyk and the best man wins. Of course, there has to be a trilogy. Even if he loses or wins, or if I lose or win, there has to be a trilogy someday and somehow. Ruiz, 32, of course, stopped Joshua, which is also 32, in 7 rounds in Madison Square Garden, and was outpointed in the rematch in Saudi Arabia. Okay, and Ruiz also said Usyk doesn't do the same thing. If Usyk doesn't do the same thing I did, he can win. I'm sure he doesn't, because he's been on top of the game in cruiserweight and undisputed he's been on top of the game in cruiserweight and undisputed in cruiserweight. I think it could go either way. I know Anthony Joshua has a new trainer in Robert Garcia. He's over there trying to show him the Mexican style, to be aggressive, throw a lot of punches, to be first, to come at him. But Usyk is an awkward fighter. He's an awkward lefty fighter. It's why we picked a lefty as well. It's just in case we have to go through Usyk. Even in sparring, it's a little tricky, but we adjust to it. I'm pretty sure if Anthony Joshua has been sparring a lot, because that's exactly what helps us, and having different styles in here, he can adjust. Let me counterpunch for a minute. Andy Ruiz said that there has to be a trilogy fight because he gave Anthony Joshua the opportunity for a rematch. That's bullshit. Okay. He did not give Anthony Joshua anything. He fought Anthony Joshua because that fight landed in his lap. And matter of fact, it didn't even land in his lap. It landed in several other laps before he begged for it to come into his. And they threw it at him. He jumped 6 feet high and he caught it. Okay. And when he caught it, he ran for the touch. He ran through the field, past all these other guys, and ran through Anthony Joshua. But he agreed, okay? He agreed to do anything possible to get that fight. If you beg for something, you can't then turn around and say, I gave you something. No, you begged for the fight, which pay dirt. He made $20 million from those 2 fights. Great. Good for him. I'm not mad at Andy Ruiz. I'm happy for him. I was happy that, someone little unknown fought for the WBO championship, came up short, now is able to get 3 belts in return, can redeem himself, can turn into a millionaire. You know what I mean? That's a great story. If anything, they could do a movie about Andy Ruiz, since we're going there. But him saying we gave him the opportunity, no, man, you didn't give Anthony Joshua the opportunity. You were required to take the rematch. Now, I don't know the stipulations if he didn't, right? But he was required to take that fight. And it also shows that Andy Ruiz is still calling out Anthony Joshua is because he has the Gennady Golovkin, the Triple G syndrome. What is the Triple G syndrome? That is when you fight a cash cow and you get that first real paycheck. You get that paycheck that you've never seen anything like before in your life. And it hooks you. That it's the only thing that could really wake you up. It's the only thing that could really motivate you. It's the only thing that could really keep you going on, because that's the only thing that made you come on. That's the only thing that really ignited you to fight Joshua. I'm going to get paid, bitch. So when you did beat him, you're like, oh, snap. Because Andy Ruiz, he took the first knockdown of his career, but he won that fight. And then him winning that fight, after all the other fights that he fought before, this is the bitch of the bunch. And what did it do? It ruined him. It ruined him. It destroyed his motivation. Like, absolutely. It destroyed his motivation. Why? Because Andy Ruiz was used to getting, I don't know what his fight purses were, to be honest with you. I don't know. But they were nowhere near $7 million and then nowhere near $13 million. You know, and I think that has crippled Andy Ruiz's motivation to do certain things. That's why you can afford to step out of the ring a whole year and a half without fighting anyone, because you got the money that you've never had before in your life. You know, the only successful thing I've seen Andy do, he lost weight, but really based on his last fight, did his weight loss benefit him? You know, or did it deter him? Because, you know, he got caught with punches that I've seen him take from Joshua when he was a bigger guy that he didn't take from Areola. So I don't think that we'll see what Andy is talking about, but I think, and you can tell someone's true motivation, you know, the trilogy fight would be good. You know, if I'm Andy, I would want Usyk to beat Joshua. Why? Because if Usyk beat Joshua, that means Joshua, you have a better chance of fighting Joshua again versus if he won. Because you think Anthony Joshua will worry about a guy or a bump in the road that he had to revisit? No, he wouldn't. Okay, it would just be because Anthony Joshua's sole motivation is becoming undisputed. That does not include Andy Ruiz. Okay, now I don't know what Mauricio's done. Well, I know what he's done, but as far as the making him, I think it's the IBF, I believe. No, the WBC. So the WBC heavyweight champion, the only way that he could fight Joshua is for him to beat Ortiz and to beat whoever the champion is. That's if Tyson Fury decides to relinquish that belt. Okay? So I think Andy Ruiz's sole motivation is to fight Anthony Joshua because he knows there's some M's involved. Because he could at least get 1, 2, or 3 of them. You know? But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Andy Ruiz calling out Anthony Joshua for a trilogy fight. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunching.